This Arkansas minor league football coach told people that if he had a daughter, he would SA her. So in November 2023, Benjamin Coney, who is that minor league football coach, and his wife, Emily Brindley, exchanged messages with who they believe to be the parent of two young girls that were ages 4 and 9. They liked them really young. He said things like, "I'm into some very effed up, sick taboos." He told the person that his wife likes them young and gave an age range. He said his wife wanted to see him F a prepubescent kid. I may have said this the first time that I covered this case, but the things that this man said in these messages, they're just too disturbing for me to even share. Parts where he's talking about doing things to this little girl and seeing her little naked body. It's just so horrible. I mean, and it isn't even just things that Benjamin Coney said. It's things that his wife said too. She said things like she had small fingers, so she didn't think that it would hurt the kid. I mean, do with that information, what you will. So Benjamin Coney and Emily Brindley, who goes by Grace, traveled from Faulkner County, like the Conway area, up to Benton County. And on their trip, they stopped and they bought lube. That was something that had been discussed in the messages. They also brought sexual aids. Of course, when these two got to the agreed upon meeting place, they were met by police officers because they weren't actually speaking to a mom about SAing or raping her children. They were speaking to undercover officers. When they arrested the two, they were able to talk to them. And when they interviewed Emily, she said that she was just trying to be a good wife and that she was not actually interested in children. She said she was just repeating stuff that she had heard Benjamin say and that she wasn't going to do anything with any children. She just wanted to make him happy. She also told police that when her and her husband were in the middle of an intimate act, that her husband told her that he wanted her to have a baby and that if it was a girl, he could have sex with it. Emily then told police that she started crying and refused to have intercourse with him after that point, but she also traveled multiple counties over with him for the sake of having intercourse with a child. So take that for what you will. For his part, Benjamin said that he did have CSAM on his devices, that police would find that, and that although he talked a big game on his phone, he didn't think he could actually go through with doing anything to a child in real life. He did kind of defend his wife a little bit, saying that Emily wouldn't have done this without him and she wouldn't tell him no. He tried to say that he wouldn't have actually done anything with the kids, that he changed his mind before he got to Bentonville. But then police brought up the fact that he had sent a message asking if the kids were still air drying, meaning like they got out of the bath and they were still, drying off, air drying. Mr. Coney was arrested and charged with internet stalking of a child and conspiracy to commit rape. He was also charged with being in possession of 30 counts of CSAM. Now, while Benjamin was only charged with 30 counts of CSAM, he was actually in possession of 76 video files and 176 still images that had CSAM, children under the age of 12. Benjamin Coney has state court again on September 19th. For Emily's part, Emily Brindley was charged with internet stalking of a child and conspiracy to commit rape. Emily Brindley doesn't actually have an upcoming state court date because she has been charged with a failure to appear. She is in the Washington County Detention Center because they were actually charged with federal charges, which is the reason I'm making this video. So that failure to appear will go away because she has a reason that she wasn't in court in Benton County, and that's because she was being held in Washington County. So Emily Brindley and Benjamin Coney were both charged with aiding and abetting attempted use of a facility of interstate commerce to entice minor to engage in sexual activity. That was count 1. Count 2 for Benjamin only is possession of CSAM. So Emily Brindley pled guilty to her 1 count, the aiding and abetting attempted use of a facility of interstate commerce to entice a minor to engage in sexual activity. Benjamin Coney has now pled guilty to his 2 counts. Now that one count that Emily Brindley has and Benjamin has the same count, that count carries a mandatory minimum of 10 years in federal prison and up to life in federal prison. And I know that these two don't have any like prior criminal history, I don't believe, but I think that them saying that about a daughter should be enough to keep them in prison for a very long time. I hope. The way federal court works is you plead guilty and then you have your sentencing later down the road. So they haven't been sentenced yet. And I am willing to bet that because they have accepted a guilty plea in federal prison, that the state charges will be dropped. I hope not, but I bet that that's going to be the case. We will see because, like I said, Benjamin has court coming up and Emily has that FTA to deal with. So she's probably, if Benton County is still wanting to prosecute her, going to have to be taken to Benton County to deal with that court thing before she's transferred to federal prison.